The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Good morning. Court Radio is now in session. Call 215-227-2727. When you've got legal questions, we've got the answers. This is Court Radio. And now here's your host, Dean Weitzman.
Good morning. It is a frigid morning. And we have a very special show today. You might have guessed it in the first couple seconds, but this is not Dean Weitzman. It's his faithful co-host, David Rappaport. Dean, thank you. Oh, yes, of course, my applause. I have to wait for that. Thank you. Yes, the minions. All right. We're going to wait for the wonderful music. I'm going to drum along to it. Explosion is gone, but it's not gone. It's there. Nice. All right. Welcome to Court Radio. As I said, it is frigid. This is David. Dean is under the weather, and we found out very, very late. So I am taking over the helm. We're not changing anything, though. You still are welcome to call in with all your different questions. 215-227-2727 is the number. Today's show is going to be about everything. You can call in with whatever you want to call in with. A question, a comment. We have a couple interesting news stories that I'm going to touch upon in the beginning, and you can comment on them all you want. The first one kind of has to do with Dean Weitzman. I'm not going to get to the big story for a minute. There's this illness going around Ursinus College, and like 200 people have since been ill, gastrointestinal problems, all these kinds of things. They can't figure out what it is. And the text message I got from Mr. Weitzman this morning at almost 4 a.m., I didn't see it till I woke up, was, I'm running a slight fever in the bathroom most of the night. Have you been to Ursinus College, Mr. Weitzman? We don't know, but he obviously has something going on there. Maybe bad piece of sushi. Who knows? But we wish him well. I'm sure he's either listening or passed out at home, one or the other. But I'm chomping at the bit here. I have to get to the big story, and the big story is Justice Antonin Scalia has passed. Now, if Larry weren't on the phone right now, he would do a little bit of an applause for me. And I know that might not seem proper for a lot of people. But I personally am not very upset about this. Of course, I'm upset that a human being has passed away. And I'm sure he's family, and he has family and people who care about him. So that, of course, is upsetting. But from my interaction with the man, which is him being the Supreme Court Justice, a Supreme Court Justice of the United States, I certainly am holding no ill thoughts at the fact that he's gone. It's going to be a good thing. Okay, the man exhibited, in my opinion, bigotry, racism, intolerance to all other types of lifestyles than his own and what he thought was right, and he brought that into the Supreme Court in a lot of different ways, and which I don't think is proper. A guy who wanted the strict Constitution to be followed, and then yet was, I think, a big proponent, unwittingly, of blurring the separation of church and state, which is unconstitutional to do that. So I think the man was a jerk in that regard, and I am totally glad that President Obama will have a chance, at least, to nominate someone new. And that's the other thing I wanted to talk about, is that Scalia's corpse wasn't even buried yet, or the story had just gotten out, and already Mitch McConnell and the Republicans were talking about how they would not accept any nominee that Obama would put forward at all. They think that a new president, and the new president should be the one to pick the new Supreme Court justice. Well, let me tell you something, folks. that is not in the Constitution. The Constitution allows the president to appoint a new Supreme Court justice, and the only reason they want to do that is because they're hoping that they're going to win the White House, and then they'll pick another conservative Supreme Court justice. But too bad, he passed now, so you're going to have to deal with the nominations for Mr. Obama. Anyway, please, 215-227-2727. Call in with your thoughts on Justice Scalia or any legal question you may have. Before we get to some news stories and some other things I want to talk about, we're going to go right into Dave, Southwest Philly. First caller, Dave.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a question.
Sure.
I have a friend.
Don't we all?
She went to the store one day with her friend. And while she's in the store, he takes the car and drives off. When she comes out, he's gone. Then he shows up a few minutes later, tells her he ran over somebody.
Jeez.
And turns out, after everything was taken care of legally, the parking authorities tell her that she owes a couple of $1,000s for this particular car, and if she doesn't pay this money, they're going to boot her current car.
Oh, okay, wait.
And this happened like...
What car did he take? She has two cars, obviously?
Well, this was 4 years ago, back in 2012.
Uh-huh.
So now they took the car and pounded the car because of the situation with the hit and run as evidence, and they auctioned it. And they, and now they're telling her like she owed them money for all this stuff.
Was this guy was this guy ever prosecuted or charged with anything? Was he hitting someone?
Yeah, he's currently in prison for that.
All right, so I'm sure part of his conviction involved restitution or some type of monetary penalty for causing.
I'm not sure I could find that out.
But if she being the owner of the car, here's the deal: if she's the only owner of the car, and she goes into the store and leaves him in the car with the keys, and he's and technically he's a permissive user of the car, unless she is going to or should have argued that he stole it. And she didn't give him permission to drive it. She didn't know he was taking it. Was she involved in the court case?
She didn't give him permission to drive off.
Right. Was she involved in the court case?
Well, yeah. Once the guy's in the court, they dragged her in the court too.
Okay. And that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
When did she get the notice about paying the money to the parking authority, or else they take her new car?
How long ago did you get that notice? They have to pay. About a year or so ago.
So she's there.
Yeah, she's sitting here, but
she doesn't want to talk on the radio. Do we have an answer?
They told her back in 2012 or 2013 that they was going to auction off the vehicle.
All right, and what did she do about it? Nothing.
She didn't do anything about it because she didn't have any money to get it back at the time.
Okay, so now
they didn't tell her anything until they had already made their decision.
Okay, first of all, here's what she needs. Here's my advice. Okay, it sounds to me like it's no different than just parking ticket violation type thing. So she needs to get a full printout of her violations that are due and owing, and she can get that at traffic court. You just go in and get a printout. Then she needs to get a lawyer, and it won't cost that much money to have the lawyer review it to find out what she needs to do. If there can be arguments made about that past thing, then they will be made. But quite honestly, I think it's too late for that. But, she may be able to work out a situation where she can make an initial payment and get everything taken care of so that nothing happens to her in the future, and then make a payment arrangement over time. And maybe one of those violations, depending upon what they are, can be opened up. But only a lawyer is going to be able to figure that out for her. And it's going to cost money, but it won't be that much. Certainly worth pursuing if what they're threatening to do is as severe as you say and monetarily substantial. So she should do that. Okay?
That's what I was telling her. Okay.
All right. Well, then you, sir, should be going to law school. I'm going to... all right? You do that. Take care, Dave.
He said what I said.
See? I said what he... Look at that. It must be his daughter. I think Dave was schooling his daughter. All right. Judy from G-Town. All right. What's up, Judy?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I have landlord-tenant question. I have a family member that rents, and he took in an unauthorized renter. He's now having problems with that individual that he let in illegally because that individual has stopped paying rent. My question is this. He's gone to the realty company, and the realty company refuses to get involved since they never authorized him taking in a tenant. How can that family member get that tenant out? Secondarily, that tenant has sent me a text about a month ago stating that he would be out of the property within a month. Of course, that has not happened. So what are the options for the family member to get that unauthorized tenant out of his home?
Okay. Is your family member friendly with the landlord? I mean, are they, they're both working together on this?
No, as a matter of fact, I think that the landlord is so tired of the whole problem, he's probably ready to get them both out.
Well, first of all, when you say illegally took in a tenant, I'm assuming he brought someone in to live with him and he was charging that person, or no?
That is correct.
Okay. And then the person just said, I'm not paying anymore.
That is correct.
All right. This is a tough one because the only one who legally has the right to enforce an eviction or termination of a lease or anything like that would be the landlord, the owner of the property. And your family member did what would be considered a sublease, but I assume there was no right for him to do that, and he had nothing in writing with the person that came in, right? So what he would have to do, your family member, is get in concert with. He should schmooze up to the landlord and say, "Look," and this is what he's going to have to do, I think, to get the landlord to respond. Your family member should offer to pay for the eviction. It's not that expensive, but you have to file a landlord-tenant complaint, and then you have to go to the court hearing. I assume that person won't show up, and if they did, they're gonna lose anyway. So the first thing is the court will rule that they have to get out, and because this is what the deal is, they're a month-to-month, even though they're considered quote-unquote a squatter at this point, they're a month-to-month tenant. That's what the law allows them to be. So the court would give them 30 days notice to get out. Let's say they don't get out in 30 days, then you got to go back to court and say they violated the order. They get another 30 days. That's 60 now. They're still not out. Then you go to the sheriff and you bring them the order, and the sheriff then evicts them. The process takes approximately 90 days. That's if the person doesn't cooperate. If, though, you file that against the person and they show up in court, the judge can order them to leave earlier, and they may be scared enough to leave earlier. But if they if they ignore everything, it's going to take about 90 days or a little bit more to get them out of there. But that's the only way to do it legally. Because once they're in there and they have personal possessions in there, and they've at least paid for 1 month to be in there, regardless of whether they have a lease or not, they are there. And you can't just throw them out. You can't just kick them out. They have rights, unfortunately.
All right, so to offer to pay, that's a great option to offer to pay for the eviction.
Well, yeah, because you said the landlord.
With the landlord on Monday, I think that's an excellent suggestion.
Yeah, because you said the landlord was sick and tired of it. So maybe the way to schmooze up to the landlord is say, hey, look, we need you to sign this, and work with us to get this guy out. We'll pay for it.
All right, that's an excellent suggestion. Thanks for your help. Have a good day.
No problem. You too. Thank you, Judy. All right, let's get back to. I forgot. I was remiss. Is today a special day? Is today February 14th? Happy Valentine's Day, people. I forgot to mention that. I apologize. I wanted to give a nice big smooch to Dean Weitzman, but he's not here, so he can't be my Valentine. But I urge you people to call me up and tell me how much you love me over Dean Weitzman on the radio, doing court radio, this wonderful Valentine's Day. I should be getting all the love from the audience. Okay, so I'm not feeling the love yet. I feel a little bit of it. I see the lights of the phone lighten up, so I feel that love, but I want to feel a little bit more, okay? A little bit more love. It's Valentine's Day. Get into the spirit, folks. Richard, Southwest Philly, let's talk to you. What's up, Richard?
Well, this is just showing me every morning because I work as a security guard. Question I want to ask.
Okay.
It's almost me too. But a married couple, they both have separate. They have children from each have their own his wife is very sick, and if even myself, my wife, me and my wife, we have separate children. How would property be divided if one dies?
If one of you dies?
Yeah, one of you dies. They own the house. They both own a house. And, would her children be entitled to anything?
Well, here's
would my children be entitled?
Well, here's the deal. Here's the deal, Richard. First of all, you can, and your wife, can dictate whatever you want if you do a will. That's the purpose of doing a will. And I would urge you, because you're thinking about these things, to do a will. That way you can decide, each one of you, what you want to happen. If one of you dies, if, God forbid, both of you die at the same time, let's say if you went away, that's why we do wills. Without wills, I can answer your question because the state dictates who gets what. And then everyone fights over it and tries to fight and get what their fair share is. I would suspect that you wouldn't want that to happen. And it is so easy to do a will that you should do a will because you're thinking about these things. And I would urge you, they're not expensive, okay, that you need to have a lawyer because doing a will has to be done a certain way. And you can tell the lawyer everything that you want. I want this son to have this or percentage or that daughter to have that, or I don't want the son to have this or that. They will guide you on how to do all of that. Now, if you do nothing, then the answer to your question depends upon what property was owned by you, what properties are owned by her. This is before your marriage. How much the money, their value either increased or decreased during the marriage, because technically her children aren't really entitled to anything of yours, okay? But when you're married, there isn't much of yours anymore. The example I'll give you is this. Let's say you owned your house before you got married. It was worth $50,000. Then you got married to her, and the house is now worth $75,000. The first $50,000 was yours. So your kids would inherit that on your death. But the $25,000 of increased value would have to be split between your kids, her kids, that kind of stuff. Now, a spouse always gets the first $30,000 of their other spouse's estate value, and then half of everything else.
Okay.
This is under. But you should get a will, and then you won't have to worry about what the law would dictate. You can dictate what you want to happen. Couple $100. Wills are cheap.
Yeah, I know. I was told to get a will. I'm 65 now, and I don't have one. I'm thinking about I might as well get one of those.
It'll probably cost you a couple $100, but it's money well spent, believe me.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right. You can call Saul.
All right.
You can call Saul Monday morning or Tuesday, 215-227-2727. He is the will man at My Philly Lawyer.
Pardon me?
He is the will man. He does the wills at My Philly Lawyer. All right?
No. All right, thank you, sir.
All right, brother. Take care.
Yeah.
All righty. So we've had 3 questions so far, and they've been diverse. They've been all over, which is what I want today. I want all the diversity. I want every question from all the different areas of the law. Getting back to Valentine's Day. I don't know. I'm going to segue. I don't know how I can segue into this, but I want to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. In particular, I want to talk about the halftime show. I personally thought it was kind of cool. They're always a little hokey and, not much to talk about. What I am enraged about, though, is this supposed backlash that Beyonce is getting. She dared to do some influencing, some things that she wanted to do to celebrate her heritage. And she did some kudos to Michael Jackson. She wore the similar outfit that he wore when he did the Super Bowl. Everyone suggesting that all of her background dancers were wearing the berets similar to the Black Panthers. And here's why I'm enraged. Why is anyone getting up in arms about this? It's a Super Bowl show. It's supposed to be entertainment. And I've seen some horrible, horrible halftime shows from the Super Bowl that no one has said a word about. Everyone's like, yay, yay, yay. Now you got these morons like Rudy Giuliani talking about how it was outrageous. I thought it was ridiculous. I don't know what the heck it was. A bunch of people bouncing around and all strange things. It was terrible. Could this guy be more out of touch? And by the way, the only people who are expressing outrage over the halftime show are older white men. I guess sort of like myself, but I'm not outraged. But these are older white political men, conservative, who are obviously, again, my opinion, obviously bigots. Who cares anymore what Rudy Giuliani thinks? Shut up. Just shut up. Yeah, we don't care. You are irrelevant in today's world. Goodbye. All right, got that off my chest. If you want to call in, tell me what you think about that. I don't understand this outrage over the halftime show. Someone could explain it to me. I'd be more than happy to listen to it. But I do not understand it. All right, let's take another call. We got Fareed, West Oak Lane.
Good morning. I finally got to you. I've been calling for like a month.
Really? Okay.
Yes,
cool.
Anyway, I have a question.
I'm sure you do. It's been a month-long waiting.
I got a letter from my creditor's attorney.
Uh-oh.
And he's threatening me about telling me that if I don't pay certain amount of money to him, they're going to send it to a lawyer, some type of collection agency lawyer. And
what is the debt? What is the debt, Fareed?
$3,800.
No. I mean, what is it? Credit card?
Credit card.
Okay. Good. All right.
Yeah.
How much money?
$3,800.
Okay. So go ahead. So you got a letter.
Yeah, I got a letter yesterday saying that within 30 days, if not, we're going to have your license suspended or something to that nature.
Okay.
Is that possible?
It is, but it's the first letter that you've gotten?
Yes, sir.
How late? Have you made any payments? When's the last time you paid?
Hey, I haven't been able to pay. Otherwise, I had been paying. But
How long has it been since you made a payment?
Probably about 3 or 4 months.
Okay. What I would suggest you do, first thing you should do is don't call the person on the letter. Mm-hmm. Call the credit card company. Talk to a customer service rep.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them your situation, that you can't pay or something, or whatever your financial hardship is. Okay. Try and work out some type of program with them, a payment program. Because I'm sure you have a minimum monthly payment. You're not able to make that. Maybe they'd be willing, and they are sometimes willing to reduce that as long as you make a payment every month.
Right.
That's your first line of defense. If they say, no, sorry, then the second thing you might try and do, and I know this is not going to be a good thing for you. You probably won't be able to do this, but if you can possibly come up with a lump sum of money, maybe half of what you owe, maybe even less, you might be able to convince them to take that and wipe it off.
Right.
But that's if you can come up with that money. And I'm suspecting that you might not be able to do that. So if you can't do that, the third thing would be to address that letter and call them and see if you can work out some type of payment arrangement through them. Because they're not really part of the credit card company. They are already the collection agency, okay?
Right.
And if all else fails, then you're going to have to do nothing until what ultimately they're going to do is they'll get the attorney involved. Then the attorney will write you a letter. If you don't respond to that or do something they want, they'll then file. The only way they can get a judgment against you is to file a lawsuit. And then that will allow you to go to court or at least have some time to get whatever you can together. And you would go and argue, try and make a payment arrangement at court. It's going to be a little while. What I'm getting at is it's going to be a little while before they can actually get a judgment and start to do things with the judgment. Like try and get money from you through your bank or something like that, or try and affect your license or things like that. That's going to be a long time down the road.
Somebody told me you could go bankruptcy too. Somebody told me that.
Oh, well, yes, you could, but if that's your only debt that you haven't been able to pay, I would not. My personal opinion is why go bankrupt over one credit card? That's ridiculous.
Right. That's right. Okay.
Because that's going to stay with you for 7 years or 10 years almost.
Right.
on your record, and it'll affect your credit.
But they can get your license suspended.
I'm pretty sure there's if you get a judgment against you, then you don't do anything about the judgment, and they try and execute on the judgment. They can do that.
Yeah.
They can, but that takes, like I said, that's going to be months and months and months and months and months down the road. So you have the ability now to try and fix it.
Work something out.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Well, best to you. I hope it works out for you.
All right.
But call them up. They'll be very receptive to you if you offer them some small amount every month just to get off, to get things rolling. They might be receptive to you.
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great Valentine's Day.
You too.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, thank you. How come the women are calling in and wishing me a happy Valentine's Day? I got all the men calling in. Anyway, what are we doing today? Dean is homesick. He better be listening. Yeah, he's not. I don't know what that applause is for, but that he's homesick. Yeah, that's what I'm applauding too. Hey, he's homesick. I get to do this myself. Woohoo! 215-227-2727 is the number to call in to ask me anything. You could even ask Dean the question. I'll channel Dean through my inner core and answer through Dean, however you would like it. You can call and just make a comment about anything I've mentioned, like Justice Scalia or the Super Bowl halftime show or Dean's illness, because he probably went to Ursinus College at some point. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. Same type of illness. In any event, I want to go back 1 second and talk about the Scalia thing. I think he was appointed by Reagan. And, you know what? That's a good point. Dean, if you're listening, why don't you call in? Talk to your loyal listeners who are waning and fearful that you are hurting. They want to hear you on Valentine's Day. Okay, that's my plea. If he doesn't call in, that means he's sleeping. But anyway, back to Scalia. Reagan appointed him, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, the only other justice to pass away in servitude as a Supreme Court justice was Rehnquist, William Rehnquist. Believe it or not, there's a little fact for you. Anyway, I think this is as a liberal speaking person myself, again, personally speaking, this is a good opportunity for the court to finally pass over into either a majority liberal rather than conservative like it's been, and perhaps do some things that haven't been done, like gun control legislation nationwide, other things that are more liberal in nature that involve marriage and gender and things like that, women's rights, all that kind of stuff is only going to go the way that liberal people think it should go if there's a liberal court. And Scalia was a very, very, very conservative. So, anyway, your thought, that's my spiel on the Supreme Court. We've got phone lines alight, and Monica is feverishly trying to get these phone calls. So, bear with us. Stay on the line. We are going to take your calls. Dean obviously hasn't called in. I think at this point it would be a good time to take a break, folks, so you can get your fingers moving and call in. We will be back after this message from the sponsors in 2 minutes.
You were just hurt. It's not your fault. You're in physical pain. How do you get better? Who is going to help you recover? West Philadelphia Associates has highly trained doctors and staff that can help you today. Don't wait at a hospital. West Philadelphia Associates will work with your attorney, providing documentation of all injuries and the best plan for treatment to get you back to the life you deserve. With diagnostic studies to better detect injuries, West Philadelphia Associates doctors and staff will help you recover. West Philadelphia Associates, here to help you get better because you deserve it. Call 215-4 888-471-4714.
For 20 years, Center City Medical Center has provided premium expert medical services for Philadelphia. Whether you need musculoskeletal rehab or an immigration physical, call 888-945-EXAM. Our board-certified physicians have more than 80 years' experience from post-injury rehab to DNA paternity testing. To make an appointment at one of our 3 convenient locations, call 888-945-EXAM. Get premium expert care. Center City Medical Center, serving Northeast, North, and Center City, Philadelphia. If you've been injured on the job and are entitled to workers' comp, you need someone fighting for you from the start. Call Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law. Don't rely on your employer or insurance company to get it right. Call 215-512-1500. If you're entitled to workers' comp or it's being challenged, Jeffrey Gross can help get the money you deserve, and he won't get paid unless you get paid. Call 215-512-1500. Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law, representing Pennsylvania's injured workers for more than 20 years. You've had an accident and can't work, but your legal case seems like it's taking forever and the bills are piling up. At ThriveVest.com, we are here to help. If you have a pending lawsuit, call us at 888-697-7352. ThriveVest.com has flexible solutions to get you money now. And if your case doesn't settle or you don't receive an award, you owe us nothing. Call 888-697-7352. ThriveVest.com. Get the money you need to get on with your life.
The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Need more legal answers? Here's more Court Radio with your host, Dean Weitzman.
Hello. No, that is wrong. It is not Dean Weitzman. It is David Rappaport. Dean is not here today. I am his co-host, taking over the hosting job. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. It is Sunday, February 14th, Valentine's Day, and it is colder than a witch's behind. Make yourself warm today because it is frigid outside. Thankfully, tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, while there's going to be some precipitation and weather going around, it's going to be a lot warmer. Today, for some reason, really, really cold. When I was driving in today, they said it felt like -5. It was 7 degrees at that point when I came in. So it is going to be cold. Make sure you are protected if you're outside, and make sure your loved ones are protected. And by the way, being a dog owner myself, it is illegal, not just dumb, but it is illegal to leave pets outside when it is this cold. Yes, it's actually a crime. So if you have pets, do not leave them outside. Unless they are a polar bear. Unless your pet is a polar bear. No pet has enough fur and enough resilience to last in weather like this. No cat, no dog, no salamander. Actually, a reptile would be dead immediately if you put them out in this weather. Turtles, fish, anything. I don't care what your pet is. If it's not a polar bear, bring it in. Okay? 215-227-2727 is the number to call to reach me and ask any question. Let's take D, line 4, from Newark. D. D?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, thank you. That's the first one. I appreciate that. Happy Valentine's Day to you, too. What's up?
David, you are my absolute favorite co-host.
Okay, thank you. I'm actually kind of the only co-host, well, the regular co-host. So, but that's good. Go ahead. What's up? I appreciate that.
I just wanted to say thanks for commenting on this supposed backlash.
Yeah,
on the Beyonce's performance at the Super Bowl.
Yes.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't.
The NFL approved it.
Yeah, not only did the NFL approve it, but could you, if someone didn't mention, if Beyonce didn't actually get questioned by some astute reporter or someone who was looking into it, maybe I'm not astute, but I didn't really recognize any particular statement she was making. I just saw her performance looked pretty much like a lot of other performances she's done. I guess it's because they were wearing a beret, maybe. I don't know. What was the big deal? I don't get it.
I don't know. I didn't catch that link to the Black Panthers either. I just thought, Bruno Mars was in all black as well.
Yeah, and I mean, look, and notice how none of these people who are outraged or whatever they don't mention anything about Coldplay or Bruno Mars, although those two entities were part of the same show. But they don't mention anything about that. It's just outrageous. Beyonce was outrageous. And
I couldn't believe those comments.
I'm like, yeah, you know what? She was outrageous. She was outrageously pretty good dancing out there with everyone else. There was one point where
I agree.
I don't know if you saw that one point where she almost fell and she caught herself.
Oh, yes.
Pretty amazing.
Miss a beat.
Yeah, pretty amazing. I don't get this whole backlash, and even if I believe, and I think she's admitted that, look, all of her music, or not all of it, but a lot of her music, a lot of her songs, like most songwriters and artists, have messages in them that the listener might not be wary of, and everyone brings to it what they want. The artist creates it based upon some influence in their life or something they want to say. If she had something to say in her music about that and her performance, so what? That's what she's supposed to be doing. She's an artist.
Right.
If you don't like it, then don't watch it. You don't have to. But how are they outraged? Like this was bad for America. It's just nonsense. And like I said, really, the bottom line is, who cares what Rudy Giuliani says? Does anyone care?
I agree.
At this point? Well, good. I'm glad you agree. I hope others agree, because it's just nonsense. Thanks for calling. You have have a great Sunday.
Same to you.
All right. Take care. All right. So there's one supporter of my outrage at the outrage of the halftime show. Who's next? We have 3 callers. I'm going to just randomly pick one. Line 2, Leslie from my. Geez, I can't read that.
Happy Valentine's Day, Dave.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Happy Valentine's Day to you. You are from where? New Jersey, but I can't read the Merchantville, right?
Well, I'm living in Merchantville now, but I'm from Philadelphia.
All right. What's up? What's up on Sunday? What's your question or comment or whatever?
I had wanted to get a little bit of advice from you.
Okay.
In September, I was homeless, and the Department of Veterans Affairs was assisting me with my homelessness.
Okay.
They sent a letter to the school over here in New Jersey and let them know that they was assisting me and that they was going to provide me with a HUD-VASH voucher for permanent housing. They enrolled my child at the school. Once I obtained my permanent housing, they wanted to remove my child from that school. According to the McKinney-Vento Act.
Whoa! You're quoting an act to me.
McKinney-Vento Educational Assistance Act.
Okay, I am unfamiliar, but go ahead. I like when non-lawyers quote law and acts to me. It's
the act says that if we were homeless during this academic year, that my child is entitled to remain at that school.
Uh-huh.
So the superintendent of Mount Laurel filed a petition with the Board of Education to remove my child and charge me tuition, too, at the same time. So, thoughts started going through my head. I said, hey, isn't public education supposed to be free? So when I started looking into it, according to the New Jersey Constitution, it is supposed to be free.
Right, that's what a public education is, yes?
Yes. So now they're trying to charge me a tuition fee. They're trying to remove my daughter from the school. She received an IEP and put in a 504 support class.
Who is they?
Lenape High School.
All right. Have you gone to the school district?
Yes. And I wrote a letter responding to their response of wanting to remove my child and the other services she was entitled to receive. But I think they're acting very scary now because we had our first IEP evaluation meeting last week, and they decided a second time to put my daughter in a 504 support class, and they have not done it yet.
Okay.
So
do you have spoken to the representative at the school who deals with the students and parents, the counselor or the
who is supposed to be homeless? Yes, I spoke to the homeless liaison from that school, and basically she's taken the superintendent's position.
Okay, well, you have me at a loss to tell you exactly what to do because I'm not familiar with all of the legalities of the school district in Jersey and that act that you mentioned and all of your rights. But what I think you should do, without question, at this point, is contact legal services in New Jersey and get a lawyer for free if you qualify, which it sounds to me like you would. But I don't know what their qualifications are. But you need representation. You need an advocate for your child, for yourself, because the system is. It sounds to me, from what you're saying, the system is taking you over, and you're not being listened to. So to get a voice, you need an advocate, and a lawyer is a good advocate or someone who can tell you how to get your voice heard. And the first place to go, like I said, would be legal services, which you can just look up at Jersey for the Bar Association to get recommendations on lawyers who will do pro bono, meaning for free.
They're not accepting any clients right now. So I was ready to pay for an attorney. Is it possible
that's even better. That's even better.
Represent me on an issue like this?
I would never represent you on an issue like this because a lawyer who represents a client and he doesn't know the area of the law is probably not your best shot. And I would be honest with you and tell you that I'm probably not the best person. What I could do, however, is if you call Dean's office tomorrow morning, 215-227-2727, same number that you called here, call his office, ask for him or for Saul or for an attorney there to give you a recommendation of an attorney in Jersey that does this kind of work, and they will find somebody for you.
Okay, all right.
And certainly, if you can afford to pay for a lawyer, then you should at least consult with one. It probably wouldn't be very expensive to consult with a lawyer to guide you on what to do. If you wanted representation, then you could work out some arrangement as to how to afford that with the lawyer. But yes, if you have money, then absolutely, you need at this point you need to be represented. Okay.
Yes, I feel so because like they just keep on. My daughter, she has 5 Fs in class, and I sat there and I felt like they retaliated against me because I filed a petition for declaratory ruling with the Commissioner of Education.
Gotcha.
Because she only had 2 Fs January 8th, and yet a month later, now she got all Fs. These are all the issues you can bring up with a lawyer because they're all they're all potential legal issues. So write a list down, get somebody to represent you, give a call tomorrow to the office, and they'll guide you. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yep. You take care. Call me David. You too. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. Let's take the next one. I know you've been waiting. Rose from Mount Airy, number 4. Rose.
Hey, good morning and happy Valentine's Day.
Same to you.
This is my question.
Go ahead.
I have a part of my body that is missing, and what has happened is on April of 2011, I went into the hospital to have a biopsy done on my thyroid.
Okay.
At that time, I did go in, and they did say that they were going to take a small piece out, and then they were just going to run tests on it. They did run the test while I was at the hospital. It wasn't a stay at the hospital. I came home the same day.
Right.
About 6 months ago, I went in for a physical, and they asked me how was my thyroid, and I thought everything was fine. But my doctor noticed that some type of number, a T cell, a 3 or a 6 or something like that, and at the time it was very low. Then 2 months later I went back, and then she said, I'm a little concerned because these numbers have gone up. I went in, she said, I want you to go and have an ultrasound done. So the technician asked me, she says, well, have you had your thyroid removed? I said, no. She went to do the ultrasound, and she looked at me as if I was crazy, and she says, your right thyroid is gone.
Okay.
I had no idea that they had taken it out.
Well, what was the procedure back in 2011? What was the procedure they were doing for you?
They were just going to do a biopsy just to run a test.
Okay.
So they would take a small piece and take a look at that.
And between that time and 2000 or recently 6 months ago, you said, I think.
Yeah.
Between that time and 6 months ago, did you have any medical treatment, any issues with your thyroid? Anyone who did any tests, anything?
I just had a blood test done. That's how they found out that these levels were going up higher.
Right. Right. That was 6 months ago.
Yeah, but prior to that, nothing.
Nothing. Okay. So
No.
6 months ago, you find out, and she said it's removed. So what?
I just found out on Wednesday that it was removed.
Okay. And what are the consequences of that? What did the doctor tell you are the consequences of that?
I have to go back and see my doctor, but I was concerned, like, I never signed for them to take it out.
Well, here's what...
And I feel like I just feel like, I almost feel like I've been raped or something. Like, you took something from me. I didn't tell you could have that.
Well, okay, yeah, I wouldn't go that far, but I understand what you're talking about. There's a couple issues you're kind of touching upon here. First of all, what you're talking about in that regard is what's called informed consent. You are given information, and the doctor says we need to do a procedure, and they tell you what that is, and you give them consent to do that procedure. But you're not giving them consent to do other things. It's just that. So if they do something different, that means that they lacked the informed consent, or you did. You lacked the information, and you didn't give consent for what they did. Okay. However, just like in any other case, and we always talk about this here, that's one part of it. The second part of it would be, did that cause you damage? Now, that's why I asked you about the previous. So that was in 2011, and let's assume for the moment, I don't even know this to be true yet, but let's assume they removed your entire thyroid. Between that time and now, you haven't really had any issues medically, no problems, nothing that you would call a damage. Okay, now you find out that because your levels were low, they find out that your thyroid's taken out. My question is, and I'm not asking you to answer this, I'm rhetorically speaking. My question would be, what is the damage that's caused by that? What needs to be done, and what's going to happen to you? If the answer is nothing, you can live normally without it, and it's not causing any problems, then you have the unfortunate situation of, yes, they may have done something wrong, but you really don't have a claim because there's nothing for you to complain about.
I understand.
The idea of, I feel a part of me is missing is real, and I get that. But that's not going to be enough to warrant a medical malpractice claim, okay?
Oh, yeah, I understand.
But here's what I would recommend that you do to give you peace of mind.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get all of your medical records from back in 2011 for that procedure.
I ordered those.
Okay. That will give a doctor or a lawyer the opportunity to review it to see what your condition was back then and what procedure they actually did. Then we can fast forward to today and look at any issues you may be having and see if they're caused by this thyroid issue and what you need to do to resolve it. And that will dictate whether you have something substantial enough to warrant the cost and time of getting involved in a medical malpractice case. It may very well be that they went in to biopsy something and they had to take. Why you weren't informed of that, I don't know. But there might have been a reason for it, or it might have been like, we're going to just do it because it's not going to affect her at all. And it seems like it hasn't. So
the other thing is, and I apologize for interrupting,
yeah.
The other thing is that my doctor says to me, well, now we're going to have to put you on medication. I'm not interested in taking any medications because I just don't. I'm very healthy. I eat well,
I gotcha.
I exercise and do all of those proper things.
You may have no choice.
And that's what she's saying. I may not have a choice. Well, I feel uncomfortable because now I'm being forced to take this medication. And so You know,
I get it.
I'm not sure what can be done.
Well, I'm telling you.
And I'm not into all of this going back and forth and suing and so forth. It's just that I want some answers.
That's why
I
get it.
Want.
And that's what most people want. And that's why I'm telling you, you've ordered your medical records from 2011. Get your records. Start now to get records of what has been done recently, the blood test and things like that. Then when you have everything together, you are in a position to, you can call My Philly Lawyer or any attorney to consult with them to see what they think about all of the documentation, what it looks like. They'll run it by doctor experts to see what they think. And you'll at least know what was done and why it was done. Whether you have a claim or not is something different, and we'll figure it out, okay? Mm-hmm. So do that, and the best to you. Have a great Sunday. We need to go pay the bills, so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in 2 minutes.
You were just hurt. It's not your fault. You're in physical pain. How do you get better? Who is going to help you recover? West Philadelphia Associates has highly trained doctors and staff that can help you today. Don't wait at a hospital. West Philadelphia Associates will work with your attorney, providing documentation of all injuries and the best plan for treatment to get you back to the life you deserve. With diagnostic studies to better detect injuries, West Philadelphia Associates doctors and staff will help you recover. West Philadelphia Associates, here to help you get better because you deserve it. Call 215-471-4714.
For 20 years, Center City Medical Center has provided premium expert medical services for Philadelphia. Whether you need musculoskeletal rehab or an immigration physical, call 888-945-EXAM. Our board-certified physicians have more than 80 years' experience from post-injury rehab to DNA paternity testing. To make an appointment at one of our 3 convenient locations, call 888-945-EXAM. Get premium expert care. Center City Medical Center, serving Northeast, North, and Center City, Philadelphia. If you've been injured on the job and are entitled to workers' comp, you need someone fighting for you from the start. Call Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law. Don't rely on your employer or insurance company to get it right. Call 215-512-1500. If you're entitled to workers' comp or it's being challenged, Jeffrey Gross can help get the money you deserve, and he won't get paid unless you get paid. Call 215-512-1500. Jeffrey Gross, attorney at law, representing Pennsylvania's injured workers for more than 20 years. You've had an accident and can't work, but your legal case seems like it's taking forever, and the bills are piling up. At ThriveVest.com, we're here to help. If you have a pending lawsuit, call us at 888-697-7352. ThriveVest.com has flexible solutions to get you money now. And if your case doesn't settle or you don't receive an award, you owe us nothing. Call 888-697-7352. ThriveVest.com. Get the money you need to get on with your life.
The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Need more legal answers? Here's more Court Radio with your host, Dean Weitzman.
Good morning. It's David Rappaport, not Dean Weitzman. Dean is under the weather. He's literally under the weather. And I am here as not the co-host anymore, but the host today. It's Valentine's Day, Sunday, February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you. And we're going to jump right in because we have a caller who can relate something about a previous caller, and I find that helpful. Miss T from Overbrook, line 2. Miss T.
Good morning.
Good morning. I guess you're not Mrs. T, so I can't, the mohawk and the big gold stuff, and he's not your husband, right?
Yeah, that doesn't relate to me.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. We got Miss T from Overbrook. You have a comment about, you work for the VA.
Yeah, that young lady that just called in about her housing and what school her daughter's going
in New Jersey,
to and
right?
Having a problem.
Yep.
she needs to talk to, number one, a service officer at the VA. I don't know which one she goes to. They can look into that for her, or she needs to get in touch with her congressman.
Yes.
He can write a letter of representation to that school.
That's a good point. The one thing I didn't mention was,
along with doing whatever else she was going to do, covers her all the way around.
Yep.
Now, the VA is really trying to update their image. So she'll get a response.
Excellent point.
I don't know if she's the veteran or the spouse, but it really doesn't matter, because if she's getting housing from HUD-VASH through the VA,
yes,
they sort of keep a lookout when a vet or a spouse is having a problem. They can look into that.
Okay, Ms. T, I appreciate two excellent points. One, which I was remiss to mention myself, which was to go to your local political people, committee person, or even a senator or state representative. That's a great place to go to get things done if you find an injustice happening. Okay, so thank you so much, Ms. T.
You're welcome.
You have a good Sunday. Take care.
You too.
All right, we're getting down to the wire. So I'm going to take this next caller, and you're going to be very short and succinct for me. And that is line 5, Larry. Callie, East Oak Lane. Callie.
Good morning, Dave. How are you today?
I'm well.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. Same to you. Let's shoot right into it. Be quick.
I certainly appreciate the program. I think it's great for the residents of Philadelphia. And I basically was touching on one of the gentlemen that called earlier in reference to the will.
Yes.
I am a single woman that lives alone, that owns a home.
Yes.
Currently do not have a will. So I was calling to see if I had a will just notarized by a notary, would that be a correct form of a will, or would it definitely have to be an attorney involved in that?
No. Will, that's a great question. A will could literally be a piece of paper, notebook paper, with your handwriting on it. Here's where it gets more difficult, and you mentioned notary, and that's an excellent point. If you wrote something up on a piece of paper, but you had your signature notarized, and better yet, you had a couple witnesses also sign and say that they witnessed you sign it, and the notary notarizes all of that, that's what they call a self-proving will. That means that you can just go and take that piece of paper when you pass away. Someone who knows you can go and take it and bring it to Register of Wills and probate that will and have your wishes honored. When there is, let's say, a piece of paper that's found that has writing on it and it's signed, but it's not notarized, there's no witnesses, it can still be a will, but it becomes a lot harder because you got to prove that that person is actually the one who signed it, that the witnesses are the ones who witnessed it, and so on and so forth. But you don't need necessarily a lawyer. I would urge you, though, to have one, because there are certain ways to write it up that protect you, and tax-wise and all sorts of things that you need to know to write it the right way. And it's not expensive.
Is that something that your office would be able to handle or no?
Absolutely. 215-227-2727. Give a call. Ask for Saul. And Saul is the will guy. Okay?
Oh, all right. Thank you so
all right,
much.
Callie.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thanks. It's been a great show. You too. And everybody, thank you for listening. I loved hosting today. Dean, you should get sick more often. And, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.